soul-aligned action rather than ego-based action. And if you are not aware of the nuances, it can be a little bit tricky. And so in my previous life, before I became so aware of my ego and my soul, everything I took, even though it was inspired by the soul, it was pretty much run by the ego. And that is, I felt like I needed to be part of the hustle culture. I needed to be doing all the time, otherwise I would fall behind. I needed, and it paid off because I created 2 seven-figure businesses, but I also fried my nervous system down to the ground. And I didn't realize I had a fried nervous system because for me that was normal. This running on adrenaline was normal until I saw my ego face to face in a spiritual awakening that shook me to my core, because I realized that even though my businesses were um, of the highest integrity, and even though they came from the heart, and even though they were inspired from source, they were still run as if I was concerned about falling behind. I was concerned about being viewed a certain way. I was concerned about lack appearing in my life. And so now, and it's taken a long time to do this, a number of years to do this, I don't take any action unless it's completely soul aligned. I don't take any action that I think I have to take. I only take action where I feel is coming purely from my soul. And I'm going to give you a specific example of something that just played out recently with me. But what does it feel like when you have soul aligned action as opposed to ego based action? When it's ego based action, you're operating out of fear. You're operating out of, I need to do this now or I'm going to fall behind. You're operating out of fear in the sense that if I don't do this, everybody else will have their dream business and I won't. And there's a lot of business coaches out there that play on this fear that inherently most of us have to some degree. And you may think that you're taking action aligned with your soul, but if the feeling is, I've got to get this done, I've got to do it this way, it's based on fear, because the soul is never concerned about timelines. The soul is not in a hurry for you to do anything. The soul knows that everything comes in divine timing, and the soul lets you know when it's coming from the soul as opposed to the ego, and I'll tell you how in a minute. But with the ego, it's always that little voice in the head, which is, you need to do it too. Look at all those people. They're all doing that with their business. You need to do that too. And coaches that keep promising you numbers, so they keep promising you that you're going to earn this amount of money if you do it this way, is basically appealing to your ego, not your soul. Because your soul is never going to do that. Your soul is never going to be waving that carrot and saying, you can have this too if you just follow my steps. It just will not do that. And I'm not saying that, those coaches don't have the highest integrity and the highest intention. I've come from a place where in the past, my whole business was about helping hypnotherapists create six-figure businesses with my 16 steps. And everything that I sold, I believed in wholeheartedly, and I only sold what I did myself. But there's no way that I can actually even say those words now, because for me, it's not important. Like, it's not important how much money you have in your bank account if you're not aligned to your soul. It's not important as to how much you're earning if your nervous system is fried. It's not important as to how much money you've got when your relationships are not taken care of and when you're not nurturing yourself. And so what the most important thing for me is for you to have peace, because that's what I have attained in my life above all else, is this feeling of peace, this feeling that no matter what is happening in my world, I know that I have this ability to get back to the truth of who I am, the divinity of who I am, and to be aligned to Source and to be aligned to God, and to know that I don't have to play in the matrix of illusion. I don't have to play in the matrix of false promises, because all those false promises in terms of what you think you want, as soon as you get it, you realize it's not what you want. What you ultimately want is peace. It's just that you don't know it yet. And so I'll give you an example of something that happened recently with me, where it was purely based on soul alignment as opposed to ego action. And the thing is about soul alignment is that it doesn't actually just appear on your timeline. Like the very next perfect step is not necessarily going to appear when you think you need it. There was a big portion of time when I had no clue as to what was next, because I was no longer in the ego-based action of striving, proving, trying, hustling. And so I had to wait for that divine alignment to match up. And I was really eager to get going. I was sick and tired of not earning money. I was sick and tired of not doing the things that I thought I was here to do. I was sick and tired of not living what I believed to be my highest potential. But what I didn't know at the time was that I needed to have that rest. I needed to have that break. I needed to have that time away from all activities that wore me down, so that I can be prepared for the next stage. And so what happened recently was that I'll give you the backstory. So quite a while ago, I went to Perth and did a DMT MEO5 plant medicine ceremony, which was incredible. And I asked the facilitator, so what should I do directly after that ceremony in order to sort of bring me back down to ground, down to the earth? Because when I did that DMT MEO5 ceremony, I actually experienced a near-death experience, in that I experienced the whole body completely evaporating, and it was incredible and miraculous, because I experienced what it felt like to really be embraced by God. And I asked the facilitator, what should I do when I go back to Adelaide? And he said, listen to this particular breathwork audio by Christabel Zamor. And he sent me the link, and I listened to it, and it was just the most incredible, powerful experience that activated the psychedelic reaction of pure bliss without plant medicine. And so then I was on her list, and I would see emails now and then and so on, but I never had the kind of inclination to get any more things, or to do any more programs, or to go on any of her events. And then recently, about a month ago, I got an email, and it was a 4-day free event from Christabel. And something inside me went, oh, you need to turn up to this. And not only do you need to turn up to this, you need to turn up live. And for me, I don't do anything these days, unless there's a complete soul alignment. And what that feels like in my body is like this tingling. My body starts to get hot and warm. My fingers start to tingle. And I just have this knowingness that I need to do it, and I don't need to know why. And so I did do the, I just realized I had my phone way too low, and you were down here as opposed to up here. And I did do that breathwork ceremony, and on the first day, without even having any thoughts about this at all, I realized that I needed to do that course, that she was actually that's her medicine that she gives into the world, this beautiful course about becoming a higher frequency channel and a breath of bliss facilitator. And even though there was no conscious thought, there was no way that my ego had considered this in the past, it just came to me that I have to do it. And it was a real surprise. And that's what it feels like when there's soul alignment. It's like, oh, is that what I need to do next? I didn't have any clue about that. And now when I look back at it in terms of what this course is, it's exactly me, because I love ecstatic dance. So this breath of bliss facilitation includes ecstatic dance. I love channeling higher beings. I mean, I have a podcast called Galactic Guidance where that's all I do. I am a experienced hypnotherapist and hypnotist, and so I can use hypnotic language in my ceremonies. I love the idea of running ceremonies as opposed to retreats where it's, outdoors in the sun, facilitating a large group of people to do the breath that's required to get them as close as possible to the truth of who they really are. And so it's all come together for me without me planning it, without me thinking about it, without me organizing it, without me knowing the next step. It just dropped in. The thing is that our guides are always talking to us, but if we're not listening because we're distracted, because we're scrolling, or because we're engaging in listening to what's going on in the news and mainstream media and the agendas that are playing out everywhere, then we're not actually listening to our spirit team, who are always whispering the next step. They're always whispering. And sometimes the thing is that the next step is dead silence. The next step is a radio silence where nothing is happening, and that scares you. It scares the ego, it scares you, because it's like, oh my God, well, what am I going to do next? I have to be doing something. But in fact, the universe always provides when you're in that surrendered space of just allowing yourself to receive. Somehow, you don't know how, somehow your bills will be paid. Somehow you will be taken care of. Whenever you are aligned to your soul, you will always, always, always be taken care of. And without a shadow of a doubt, you will always, always be taken care of. It's just that we're so trained to believe that we have to be the doers, we have to be the one doing something, that we don't realize that we are really just part of a grand plan, and that we're really just part of something that has been divinely orchestrated by our higher self, by source, by our guides, by something bigger than the small self. And so we need to remember the grand plan and remind ourselves that the small self's got nothing to do except get out of the way. There's nothing for the small self to do except get out of the way. And so now that I've started this breath of bliss facilitation, it's just singing to my soul. It's just like, oh yes, I so resonate with Christabel Zamor so much. Like, she just completely speaks my language. And that's the thing, and that's why we're all here to play our part, because there could be a number of people like Christabel doing that particular work, but I wouldn't resonate with them, and so they can't be my guide during this stage of my life. There's always someone that's there to be your guide at this stage of your life. And it's likely that that person is not going to be there, the one that's going to be there forever, but it's the person that's going to guide you to the next stage. And it's the one that you feel most resonance with. It's the one that you feel the truth with the words that they're saying. You feel that they're not speaking BS, that they're not saying things just to get likes or just to get you to buy something, but they're actually speaking your truth, and you can feel that in your body. And so my invitation to you is to become really discerning about what is speaking truth at the frequency that you are at. who is speaking truth at the frequency that you are at. And anything that feels like it's fear-based, they're trying to scare you into buying something because you might miss out, you may never get that money, you miss out on your chance, your opportunity, that's not soul. That's ego. That's the way that ego operates, and that's what ego aligns to. Your soul doesn't align to fear tactics. It doesn't align to scarcity tactics. Your soul aligns to the truth. And the truth is that you do have everything that you need inside of you to get to the next step. You just resonate with a teacher that's going to hold your hand and take you there. But really, it's going to all come from you. It's all going to come all from you. And so that day that I said yes to this facilitation for Breath of Bliss, I went for a walk, and almost as if I was being cheerleaded by the universe, there was a whole series of dolphins that started dancing in front of me, and I was the only one at the end of that pier to see them. And I just had these tears go down my face as I realized that this is soul alignment, that I'm so grateful to my higher self, my angels, um, to my small self for getting out of the way. I'm so grateful that I do listen, that I won't take action just because I see my income going down, that I won't take action just because somebody else is doing something. I'm not going to take action just because it makes me feel safer to do so. I'm not going to take any action at all unless I can feel it in my being that it is aligned with the truth of who I am and with my soul. And I know without a shadow of a doubt that when I do that, that the heavens open up, that the dolphins dance, and that everything is possible, and that I will be taken care of beyond my wildest dreams. And so if any of that resonated with you, I invite you to subscribe, because I only talk truth on this channel. I don't talk BS. I don't say what I think you want to hear. I don't research my topics to see what's trending. I just speak from what is currently held in my heart so I can share it with you. So if this resonated with you, please comment, please subscribe, please share to someone who needs to hear it. And always remember this. Always remember this. Always live in truth. Don't allow yourself to be shoved back, to be made small, to think you are less than, so that somebody else can feel better than. Always, 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 always live in truth. Sending you so much love.